Alright, so some of you had a question about number 23. Alright, so first of all, I want to make sure I understand what all these variables are represent. Alright, so let's make sure we understand what all these variables represent in number 3. So first of all, we see this variable t floating around. So we want to make sure that we understand that the t, let's see, it says the height h in feet of a model rocket above the ground t seconds after liftoff. So this represents the number of seconds after liftoff. Alright, so that's what t is representing there. Okay, and then we have h of t. So they just told us that h of t, h represents the height. Right? So you tell me the amount of seconds after liftoff, and I could tell you the height. So this is the height. And we're measuring this in feet. Alright, so here's the question. When does the rocket, so we're looking for a time, right, because this is when does the rocket reach its maximum height? Alright, so how do we find a maximum height of a function? And notice this function, h of t equals negative 5t squared plus 100t. What do you notice about this function? Well, we got something squared, right? This guy's being squared, so we know it's a quadratic, and our leading coefficient's negative, so we know it's a parabola opening downwards. So it's going to have some max. Right? So what we're looking for is our vertex. So let's go ahead and find our vertex. So usually we have, the vertex of our x-coordinate, but in this case, we're going to be looking for our t, right? Because t is in the place of where we usually see that x, that independent element right there, that independent variable there. So we have t equals negative b over 2a, and our b happens to be 100, and we're going to divide that by 2 times negative 5. So we end up with 100 divided by negative 10. So negative 100 divided by negative 10 after you clean all that up, and you see that you get 10. So what we could say is after 10 seconds, right? So in words we write after 10 seconds the rocket will have reached its maximum height. So we just answered this first part of when. Alright, now it says what is the maximum height? So we just found when it reaches the maximum height, but we haven't answered the question of what is that maximum height. Alright, so what are we going to do with this 10? Alright, so if you're listening to some viewers chiming in on Twitter, they're telling us to plug in 10 for t. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's plug in 10 for t. And let me get rid of some of these scribbles that I just made on there. Alright, so let's get a clean page here. Alright, so let's continue the march here. So notice we found the maximum height is when the rocket has been in the air for 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and plug in our 10 seconds into our function. So we're going to find h of 10. Alright, so we end up with negative 5 times 10 squared plus 100 times 10. Alright, so we go ahead and do all that, and we get negative 5 times 100 plus 1000. So we end up with negative 500 plus 10,000. So we get, after 10 seconds, the maximum height is 500 feet. So make sure you just go ahead and write that statement out. So after 10 seconds, the maximum height is 500 feet. Alright, so now we've gone ahead and we've answered that question. See you in the next video.